56% of Americans say that their financial situation is either worse or the same as it was just before the last financial recession hit. But we shouldn't be concerned or worried about this, should we? It's Friday, June 14, 2019. Thank you so much for joining me today. We certainly live in the land of denial here in America. I was reading an article a couple days ago, and there was a survey taken, and it was talking about how many people now are living out of their cars. And yet, so many people who are sleeping and living out of their cars do not consider themselves homeless. We have people here in America who make $30,000 a year, but have $100,000 in credit card bills, consider themselves middle class. They consider themselves middle class. They don't consider themselves broke. People today are filled with so much denial, and so much of this illusion. People today believe things are going great, but when you ask them why are things going, financially or economically great here in America? What do you base that on? And typically they'll base that on the stock market, the most detached thing from reality. Yet these are the same people living paycheck to paycheck. These are the same people with massive amounts of debt, whether it be auto debt, school loan debt, credit card debt, household debt. These same people believe, even though they're broke, they believe things are going well, even though they're not doing well. This is the twilight zone that we are actually living in. There was an article that came out, and I want to go over some facts and figures with you right now. This came out of Morgan Stanley. This is on Zero Hedge this morning. Morgan Stanley's Business Conditions Index just suffered the biggest 1-month decline in history. I'm going to go over this article with you. Morgan Stanley said that U.S. economic conditions are going to deteriorate rapidly the second half of this year. That's straight from Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley's Business Conditions Index, which captures turning points in the economy, fell 32 points in June to a level of 13 from a level of 45 in May. This is the largest 1-month decline on record and lowest level since 2008, December of 2008. Unemployment claims here in the U.S. have now risen 3 weeks in a row. The trade war is escalating, prices are going up, and paychecks are not. This is straight from Morgan Stanley. More reasons to be concerned and to be preparing. Get out of the illusion, get out of the matrix, get into reality, and start getting ready. This thing is here. It is at the doorstep right now. The article goes on, so as prices go up, and I'm going to paraphrase here a little bit, as prices go up, paychecks stay the same. This equals a decrease in your standard of living. At this point, global trade has collapsed at levels not seen since the last recession. Manufacturing around the world is currently plunging. All this is happening while we are heading into a massive global recession. The speed of things is deteriorating at an incredible rate. And when we add in things like real estate, how the real estate market is slowing down, auto sales falling off of a cliff, and the retail apocalypse, you add this into the global recession that's coming, and the information I just gave you, as people's paychecks are not increasing, okay, and as prices do, and we are we're in a trade war with China now, and we are getting deeper into a trade war with China as we are going to see price increases. And remember, we have consumer inflation at 10 to 12%, and yet most people's paychecks are not going to keep up with this. They're not keeping up with this, and this is why we continue to see so much debt. Another reminder to every one of you, do not be buying stuff you don't need. Don't be buying things to impress people you don't know, or to impress people you don't like, or even impressing people you do like. Don't buy that stuff. Buy what you need. This is no time to gamble or to impress people. This is time to be very, very conservative and to really be preparing for a major storm coming to the financial markets and coming to the U.S. economy. CNBC this morning. There are now $11.7 trillion worth of bonds with negative yields. The level of negative Global yield debt is climbing into the stratosphere, according to this article. This is a 12.5% increase since the end of May. Negative yield. So I think this is another reason why we're seeing so many more people running into the precious metals. Another reason why people are holding on to cash. You're better off just putting cash into your safe or into your mattress, and you're certainly better off by purchasing precious metals than bonds right now. I mean, this is incredible. $11.7 trillion worth of bonds. This is globally. With negative yields. And I looked at the 10-year today. 10-year Treasury bond is currently right now at 2.09%. And in all reality, that's not even keeping up with real inflation here in America. Even though they say it's about 2%, we know that the real inflation rate is about 10 to 12. So, it just makes no sense to me to tie up money for 10 years, not even keeping up with realistic inflation. Much better off putting away precious metals. Let's talk about the amount of homelessness in America. We've touched on this before. Right now here in America, we have 552,000 homeless in the United States. Many people argue that this number is much higher than 552,000, but nonetheless, over 500,000 people is unacceptable here in America. Homelessness affected 18% of people attending a 2-year college. 14% who went to a 4-year college were affected by homelessness. In California, 339,000 community college students reported that at some period they experienced homelessness just in the previous year. 20% indicated that they had to sleep in their vehicle. So get this, here in the state of California, we just passed a bill that will require every community college in California to provide a parking lot, a safe parking lot, where students attending that school can sleep at night. So this is the solution here in California to homelessness. Just build parking lots, which they're doing all over Los Angeles right now. So they put a security guard there, a bathroom, and some lights, and that's how they're trying to deal with the homelessness issue and epidemic in Los Angeles. Now the entire state is going to take on the same blueprint, at least in the community college sector, and they're going to allow you to sleep in the parking lots in your car, put a security guard out there, and probably put some portable bathrooms there. And that's how we're going to deal with this epidemic. It blows my mind that people have no issue with allowing half the world to come to America and pay for it, while our future, our young people who are trying to get an education, go to school, are getting no help and are going to have to sleep in their cars in a parking lot in order to go to school and get an education. Wow. People from the Congo or parts of Africa or parts of Latin America or China or wherever can come over here and get government subsidies, get housing, get benefits, get government subsidies, while our own children now are sleeping in cars to get an education. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you think about that. That this is the Twilight Zone. I came across an article this morning. It was on CNBC, and it was talking about the death and despair of America, and basically the breakdown that we're seeing in the society here today. And I want to go over that with you. You know, you don't have to look very far to see a breakdown in society. Just take a look at the people. The obesity rate in America is out of control. And when I look at people 350, 450 pounds walking around, not even thinking that the human body could even grow that big, and people really not even be able to walk, they just wobble, and just looking how people take care of themselves and how unhealthy they look and how unhappy they look. You don't have to go very far. Go to your local Walmart, as I've said many times, but people look sick, they look unhappy. you do see a breakdown in society happening right before your eyes. But I want to go over this article on CNBC with you. I made some notes. I'm going to highlight this. The suicide rate in the U.S. is at the highest it has ever been. I have a question. What happens when this economy officially goes into a recession? When we're seeing people that are literally walking around like zombies, we see this amount of obesity here in America, we see this amount of depression, we see this amount of suicide. What's going to happen when things actually really get bad here in America? Ask yourself that, and are you ready to deal with it? Environments change. How are these people going to change when this environment changes in an extreme way, when it changes literally overnight? What's society going to look like when it begins to crumble? And it's beginning to crumble right now. 1 out of 6 Americans is taking psychotropic drugs. And these are typically when we have these, massive attacks. These people that commit these crimes are typically on psychotropic drugs. We're presently dealing with the worst drug crisis in American history. Ask yourself, what's going to happen when things get bad in America, when the money tightens up, when the government subsidies tighten up, when the EBT stops? People can't get their drugs, they can't get their psychotropics, they can't get their illegal drugs. What's going to happen? Are you prepared to deal with this? Nationally, the number of Americans that die from opioid overdoses each year now exceeds the number of Americans who die from auto accidents. This is absolutely out of control, insane, and this is happening to your country right now in the good times. We have an explosion of suicides in the farming industry. Farmers' net income has fallen 50% since 2013, and now with all the flooding happening in the Midwest, it is going to be one of the worst financial years in the farming industry. We really must pray for our farmers and support our farmers because, without farmers, we would not survive as a nation. So we must all say a prayer for our farmers and support these guys. The economy has a huge effect on people, and things in this economy are about to get very, very bad. And again, this is why I repeat on a daily basis, you must be getting ready, you must be getting prepared, because this tsunami is closing in, folks. It is much closer, and it's going to be much worse than most people think it's going to be. Drug overdoses are up 115% since 2005. Alcohol deaths are up 37%. This country is so dependent on drugs and alcohol. And again, what is going to happen when they don't have access to it? And they don't have access to the government subsidies that allow them to get the alcohol or the drugs. Today, Americans have thousands of ways to entertain themselves. Americans have conveniences that our grandparents never had. Today, people have luxuries that never existed years ago. Anything you want is literally a click away. Yet, with all of these luxuries, with all these conveniences, people today are some of the unhappiest people in American history. What is going to happen when people start going hungry, when people lose their pension, when people lose their jobs? What's going to happen when people lose faith in the US dollar? What's going to happen when people lose faith in the system? People cannot handle things right now. What are these people going to do when the environment changes? And are you prepared for this? Because these people that I'm talking about are not. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Before I go, I want to go over one more article with you. It was on the Daily Mail last night. Instagram is down again. Social media app crashes for users around the world for second time in days. And this just reinforces my belief in why if you don't hold it, you don't own it. This is why I believe you should have cash put away. This is why I believe you should have precious metals. This is why I'm not a fan of cryptocurrencies. Not saying that cryptocurrencies are bad, not saying that you shouldn't have some. I believe in diversification. If that's one way you want to diversify your portfolio, I believe that's fine. But if we had a grid go down, if we had a cyber attack, if for whatever reason you cannot get online, what are you going to do with electronic money? What are you going to do with cryptos? If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Gold, silver, cash, and of course, an array of other assets and preps. But this is my belief. This is my thoughts on it. You can comment down below. Tell me what you think. Again, this is not a personal attack on cryptos, not saying that you shouldn't have cryptos. But in a worst case scenario, cryptos are not going to help you. In a worst case scenario, you better have cash, you better have metals, you better have security, and you better have all your preps topped off. So I'm going to leave it on that note. One more thing though. Down in the comments, many people continue to ask me where I recommend you buy precious metals. I've made multiple orders from SD Bullion. I know a lot of people in the comments have also ordered from SD Bullion. I will totally and give you 100% recommendation to SD Bullion. They've been phenomenal. The rate of time when I order and getting the metals in my hands back here at the house has been very, very quick. They're a very awake group of people. So I highly recommend SD Bullion. I have a link down below. Click on that. And I don't know, they may be having a sale right now. Check it out. But I do like SD Bullion. Again, I don't care where you get it from. Go to a pawn shop, go to a local coin shop, go to anywhere. But I do believe it is critical that you do be acquiring precious metals. And I've been acquiring from SD Bullion. And I've also been acquiring from pawn shops and other places. So the main thing is make sure you are acquiring hard, tangible assets. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless every one of you. God bless America. And stay safe. And we'll talk very, very soon.